Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Groove Show, the show where short track racing rules. My name is Tom Baker, and we are live on the Steering Wheel Nation, or SWN Media, as we're calling it these days, Facebook and YouTube. So if you ever want to join us, on Inside Groove Live. You can do it Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, at the SWM Media on Facebook and at SWM Media on YouTube. And I am joined on this week's show by a very special guest. Gary Monshine is with us. And Gary is the founder and promoter in chief, we'll say, of the Big J Vintage Jamboree, which is coming up this weekend, this upcoming weekend, July 31st, August 1st, at the Jennerstown Speedway. And Gary, it is always a pleasure to speak to you, sir, and I appreciate you jumping on at the last minute and talking with us. Tell us, first of all, for those who are not familiar with the Big J Vintage Jamboree and Car Show, tell us what it is and tell us kind of how it got started and how it ended up at one of my favorite tracks in all the world, as our good buddy Larry Trinka, the co-promoter of the show and participant, we'll talk about that in a minute, joins us in the chat. So tell us a little bit about what the show is, Gary.
Well, Tom, first, I'd really like to thank you for having us on again. I really appreciate doing your show. You definitely reach out, and it definitely helps with the promotion when I get on here. And as far as Larry's concerned, Larry is the best. He is absolutely the best. You'd be hard pressed to find another guy that Larry's super modified Trenka. Okay, he's the man. All right. So he's really good. He's my guy when it comes to this stuff. Okay, and I wouldn't. We met maybe a long time ago through Larry. I don't remember exactly how it happened. Anyway,
classic at Oswego with the old Bodine 99 rear engine.
Oh yeah, that's when we had it up there. Actually, in the Ken Bren, Ken Bren thing. Okay, so the Big J Vintage Jamboree is it's an on-track car event where we run vintage cars on track both Friday and Saturday. Lots of sessions. We have 4 hours of sessions per day. 4 hours on Friday, 4 hours on Saturday, and then we run Saturday night during their regular show. They run a regular show with super late models and street stocks and whatever they got. And and I don't mean to demean them. I just don't know all their divisions. And the bottom line is we run groups of A and B speed groups, which we control with radar guns. So we're the only organization in the country that actually controls speed shooting radar. And the reason we do that is radar don't lie. Okay. So what it boils down to is it's really funny. Like I said, we run an A and B group, which is a slower group. Our A group is sort of highway speed, 60, 70 miles an hour. Our B group runs up to 90 or 100 miles an hour. But it's funny, we get guys that go out in the B group and they come in, man, I was hanging it out there. I had to be breaking the speed limit, man. I had to be doing 120. And we're like, yeah, you were flying. There were 78 on the radar. Okay. So guys are having a ball. And for us, it's great. We just let them carry on and relive old times. And it's a fabulous thing. We started this event last year, which incidentally, it's actually part of the Atlantic Coast Old Timers. They are actually the sanctioning body. I just do the work for them. Okay. And they were the sanctioning body last year, and they'll be the sanctioning body again this year. That's ACOT, the Atlantic Coast Old Timers. Keith Make is the president of that organization. So we're working with them to do this show. They've been really great to work with. So basically, the cars, we get them in there during the week. Matter of fact, I'm taking the red eye out tomorrow. I live in Florida. So I'll be up in Pittsburgh, and then I'll shoot over to Jennerstown. I'll be there tomorrow. And we've already got guys coming in tomorrow. Matter of fact, we got 2 super modifieds, vintage super modifieds coming in already tomorrow. We'll have a bunch more guys coming in Wednesday. And then Thursday is basically when they all come in. And We got guys coming from Florida to Maine and as far west as Illinois. So we got the whole East. And now you ask me what the idea behind all this was. Well, we've always, myself, with my old company, Classic Racing Times, we've always promoted national vintage events throughout the country, whether it was Pocono, Iowa, Phoenix, you name it. We were promoting events for years and years. Well, just before the pandemic, I sold everything I had, sold all my race cars, sold my business, and retired to Florida. Mistake. Shouldn't have done it. Okay. Should have kept at least one or two race cars, because now I'm kind of like, it hasn't worked out well for me personally.
Right.
But I get to drive a bunch of other guys' cars, but it's not the same. I like to have my own car.
Sure.
So anyway, for the several years since the pandemic leading into last year, I had a bunch of guys calling all the time, like, man, we got to do something on the East Coast. There's no major event, a pavement oval event on the East Coast for vintage. There's no major events. And when we were running Pocono, our last couple of years, we had over 300 cars on the grounds at those events. Now, it just wasn't vintage cars. We ran a 5th mile and ran 3/4 midgets. We ran the road course. We had Formula V's come in. You name it. We had it going on, but it was an absolute jamboree there too as well. Well, we aim to do the same thing at Jennerstown. We started last year with about 60 cars, worked out extremely well. Everybody was happy. So we added a few more caveats this year. And of course, we've grown right now. We've got about a 25, 30% increase in car count coming this year, plus some caveats that I'll talk to you in a moment about.
Okay. Well, you've got a very interesting addition to this year's show that you didn't have last year. You've got something for the ladies, or at least for a small group of ladies, that's called the Queen's Royal. And for those of you who are watching or listening to this show, we are not playing poker here. Tell us what the Queen's Royal is.
Well, for those who don't know, this is something extremely special. What we've done is we've put together the Queen's Royal Amateur Go-Kart Race for women only, like a Powder Puff Derby. Except this is not a Powder Puff Derby that's just thrown together for one night. We've got a group of women who are the wives, sisters, daughters of the teams that come in from all over the country. And they're going to be competing in actual racing go-karts with limited engines on a road course that we're going to build. We've already designed it, and that's going to go together, a short road course on the infield. And it seems right now that we're going to have about 150, maybe 200 spectators. That's what it's looking like. This is a major thing. And right now we've got about 15, 16 women that are going to compete in this event. And there's no prize money, but there's trophies and there's bragging rights. Now, we've all heard of the King's Royal, so I'm just kind of copying that. But in copying that, we're going full tilt on this, okay? In Victory Lane, we're going to crown the queen. We've got the crown. We've got the cape. We've got the scepter, okay? We've got a podium, okay? All the girls are going to be there. We're buying a bunch of Pellegrino seltzer waters. They can spray the water. It's going to go nuts. And then this is all going to happen on Friday from 3 to about 5:30 to Queen's Royal. And it's a full show. We're running 3 sets of warm-ups because we've got to teach these girls how to race. So in each set of warm-ups, we're going to teach them different things about how to drive a race car, even though it's a kart. So the first one, we're going to teach them how to slowly come up to speed, learn the track. The second one, we're actually going to take them and have them line up 2 by 2 in the same group that they're going to run their heat race. And then we're going to simulate the start of a heat race, except the rows will be far apart. So they learn how to start a race side by side. These are all women that never raced before, okay? But we're going to teach them how to race. We've got several coaches, including Mayor Stelfox. We've got Mallory. Mayor Stelfox is the Grand Marshal. We've got Mallory Kutz, who is a big-time racer from Evergreen Speedway, and she also runs TQ Midgets. And local star Carly Atway. She runs, I think she runs a late model or a street stock at Jennerstown, but she's a big-time winner. Comes from a big family. So we have 3 drivers coaches that are going to coach all these women. A lot of these teams most of these teams are, like I said, the wives, daughters, or sisters, but the husbands went out and built or bought carts for this event. Okay.
Wow.
Now, I'm not saying that these girls are going to climb over the top of each other. That's not what I'm saying. But this thing is going to be a real race. Okay. By the time we get to the feature, because we're going to run the heat races, the constantly, the whole thing. By the time we get to a feature, which incidentally will be 20 laps. So we'll see how strong these girls are in the arms. 20 laps on a road course, they're going to have to earn it. But by the time we get to the feature, I guarantee you, we're going to have a race. This is going to be something happening. And this year, we planned as the inaugural event, and we really, really think this is something we can build on going forward. It's really something special. In addition to that, another idea behind doing the Queen's Royal is to, I don't want to say introduce, but perhaps entice the management at Jennerstown to think about putting a small track in the infield so that we can grow our event and bring in a full show, let's say an oval. We might be able to put a 5th-mile oval right in the infield, temporary, but with Jersey barriers and whatnot. And if we can do this and we can get that 5th mile, we're going to bring in carts, like a full slate of racing carts. And I'd like to bring in both modern and vintage 3/4 midgets next year. That's what I'd like to do. So, and then I'd like to expand the show an extra day. We'll start on Thursday and run from Thursday to Saturday and have 2 full nights of racing for TQs and have a full kart show and have the vintage going and whatever other crazy things I can come up with, I'll come up with, But that's how you build a show. We're building a festival. This is not your typical track rental or not your typical couple of vintage cars running at intermission. This is a festival. This is something really big. Free camping all weekend long. We've been pushing that. Fans, come on in. I mean, it's basically walk in and have a great time, camp, hang out with us. We may have a beer or two afterwards. I don't know. We'll see, but it's a great time at one of the best, if not the best, short track on the East Coast.
Now, does the winner of the Queen's Royal get a bottle of Crown Royal as part of their prize package, or?
Well, no.
I think the husband or the boyfriend, the significant other who built the cart, some of those folks may need some Crown Royal after they look at the carts after the end of the race.
Tom, I've been thinking an awful lot about this, and I've been watching the posts from some of these teams and all I see is Little League soccer with the parents, the parents and the kids, where the parents are really pushing the kids.
Yep.
And if anything, we're going to have to back the husbands down a notch or two, because the husbands, myself included, my daughter's running, and I'm like, we don't want to go there and lose either. We want to win too. So it's going to be a neat deal, but safety is the big thing.
For sure.
The way we've designed the track to keep the speeds down, and we're going to be testing the track tomorrow night. I'm going to lay it out, and we're going to be using hay bales and different things, for barriers. But the way we've designed the track is so that the top speed stays under about 18 miles an hour, which is basically your best fun kart speed. You understand me? We can't allow these girls that have never raced before to be running 30, 35 miles an hour. It's not right. This is going to be like it doesn't matter. They're still going to race hard at 18 miles an hour, but it'll be a little safer,
Fun. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And that's just one of the attractions at the Jamboree this weekend. You've got, before we get into the cars, because we'll be a while talking about the various vehicles that we've got coming to the show. Let's talk about some of the stars, if you will, some of the celebrities that are going to be on hand. I'm pretty excited about the fact that you lined up Pancho Carter to come out to the show, and of course Geoff Bodine coming back as well. And so
I got to interrupt you. Yeah, I got to interrupt you for 1 second. Both Pancho and Geoff had to cancel for personal reasons. Yeah, for personal reasons. Yeah, I'm very good friends with both guys, and I assure you, they have legitimate reasons why they can't make it. Sure. It isn't that they didn't want to come. Geoff is heartbroken, but they both have some family things going on that I don't think would be fair to discuss. They're fine, but there's some family issues going on in both cases, and family comes first. And Jeff and Pancho are not doing much more than they have to right now. They both have separate but family issues, and I respect that. However, we got Gerald Chamberlain. Okay.
Oh wow,
now, Gerald. Yeah,
Gerald. Well,
all right. We've got Larry Wright, who's has 300 feature wins in Western Pennsylvania. And Larry Wright and Gerald Chamberlain. Gerald Chamberlain's 87 years old, and that guy. Between him and Larry Wright, I had them on the phone the other day. I was in stitches. They're so funny, so funny. Oh my! And they just eat this stuff up. They're going to be all over this event. They're going to be there both days, meeting fans, greeting people. We're not letting either one in a race car, though. But they're going to be all over this event. And they're really going to be an integral part of our Autograph Alley, which is Race Fest. We're running a vintage Race Fest on Saturday night during the regular races behind the main grandstands. Our Autograph Alley last year was extremely popular. I mean, the line was all the way out, and we covered them. But we have quite a few big names come in. Like I said, we got Gerald Chamberlain. We've got Larry Wright. Van May, okay?
Oh, my. Wow.
Van May's, I'm talking color. These are characters. These are people with color. How do you not like Van May? He's the coolest guy going.
That's awesome.
We've got Johnny Heidendreich, USAC and East Coast midget sprint car Silver Crown star Johnny Heidendreich.
Yep.
All right. Another big time guy. Lots of stories. Okay. We've got Brian Seidel, former big time URC and ARDC midget driver, Brian Seidel. Okay. Hank Rogers Jr., who hasn't been out in quite a while to meet the fans. Hank Rogers is coming out. Multi-time ARDC champion. Matter of fact, he won so many races one year that we were all going to quit. He won every race. Okay.
That's crazy. Wow.
Great guy, though. Hank Rogers, great guy. He'll be out. Okay. We got Billy Hughes, another big-time midget champion, and also ran late models at Flemington when Flemington was paid. Billy Hughes. Okay. We've got Stan Applebaum, who goes back to the old days of midget racing and the old days of URC. He ran back in the day. Big-time guy. Ran Flemington, ran all those tracks. Matter of fact, I was a teammate to Stan Applebaum back in the 70s, running for a guy by the name of Dick Mealy. Yeah, he ran an Offie and I ran a Pinto. And I used to chase him around with a Pinto, in a midget. We had fun, though. We had fun. We got, like I said before, we've got Mayor Stelfox, who will also be signing autographs.
Yeah.
Cover of Open Wheel magazine.
Only woman. Good.
Yeah, I raced with her quite a bit in the sprint cars. And what made her really good was her consistency. Okay. Yep. This is the thing about female drivers. And anybody can say what they want, but here's the facts. Female drivers are usually more consistent than male drivers, and they don't get flustered that easy behind the wheel. They're really consistent. And when I used to race mares, especially in the sprint cars, you couldn't get her to make a mistake. She just wouldn't make a mistake. So you would have to make a really crazy move to get by her. And the way she ran, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't jeopardize yourself because she knew exactly how to run, and she was fast. She wasn't holding you up, but you'd have to do a really tough move. And I was never willing to do it, but she was great. And our final guest right now on our special guest list is Lenny Boyd. Lenny Boyd, who goes way back. Now, I know we're going to talk about the cars in a minute, but I got to bring up something immediately.
Go ahead.
The Lenny Boyd Red Sled Roadster ARDC Midget that he won the 1977 ARDC Championship it was found, restored, and is coming out to Jennerstown to make laps.
Nice.
And Lenny Boyd may drive it. Lenny Boyd may drive it again. And it'll be the first time that he's driven a race car ever since he's retired, probably about 20 years ago. So Lenny Boyd is coming out. And for those who know Eastern Midget Racing, three-quarter midget racing, DA Modifieds, he was a big champion in DA Modifieds.
Okay.
Lenny Boyd. And the Boyd family goes way back. They were building cars way back. Okay. I'm talking 1950s. Matter of fact, our first 3/4 midget was a Boyd midget that we got back in the late 60s. So,
wow.
And that car was already 10 years old. So that was our first car. That's how many years ago? 60 years ago, you know? So he'll be there. So that's a list of our quote special guests. In addition to that, there'll be more people coming that I couldn't even name the names. It's everybody I know is coming. This thing is going to be absolutely fantastic.
It sounds it. Do we have before we get into specifics on the cars? Do we have any rough idea of numbers here? I think you told me at one point you were hoping for maybe over 60. Are we still possibly in that ballpark?
Yeah, definitely. As any promoter knows, whatever you book the week of the event, you kind of normally have roughly a 15 to 20% drop off the week of the event.
Right.
Okay, this is just a normal part of promoting. It's just for whatever odd reason, you know, guys, whatever, you know, they don't come. I'm going to knock wood right now because we've only lost a couple of cars so far for some different reasons. And right now we're still sitting at 74, 75 cars for vintage this year alone and 15 carts. So we're looking at 90 rolling stock at the facility for this year, as opposed to 60 last year, which means we're having, you know, it's a really good increase. And we're on our way. You know, we're already talking about next year. This is something we're going to continue to do. The track is completely behind us. And it's not just the number of cars, it's the quality. I have to count them up, but I believe we have 12 or 14 brand new, fresh restorations debuting. Guys are building cars to come do this event. Okay. Well, partially, you know, they build the cars because they want them, but they're shooting a fellow by the name of Joe Grandinetti, who's one of the finest mechanics that ever lived. He lives north of Philly, that area down there.
Yeah.
I know he's worked on. I was trying to count up today, but just for this event alone, I think 6 or 7 cars he's either restored or prepped just for this event. 6 or 7 cars out of one shop. These guys are doing this. They're earmarking this event as the Super Bowl vintage event of the year.
Wow.
I realize I'm the promoter. I know what you're thinking. Ask the guys. They'll tell you this is the best thing going for them, you know?
Oh, we believe you because you're not going to exaggerate more than you need to, because then if it doesn't happen, you know, we all know how that goes. So we get it. That's crazy. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's start getting into some of the cars. First of all, you know where I want to start, buddy, because you know I'm a super modified fanatic. So we know that Larry the Legend, Larry Trinka, has the, I believe he's bringing the older of the 2 Joya 9 cars that he has. The one that was the 1976 classic winner at the Oswego Speedway. So we know that the Joya Chevy is going. What other super modifieds do we have that you know of that are coming to the show this weekend?
A lot. That's the super modifieds are near. Yeah, the super modifieds are near and dear to my heart. I got to be honest with you. I'm a midget guy. I'm a sprint car guy. I love Indy cars, but I love super modifieds.
Yes.
Love them. And I got to be honest with you. To my knowledge, there's no other vintage event in the country that's trying to build the super modified division. But damn it, we are. We're working at that.
Amen.
And right now, we're hovering around 11 or 12 supers for this vintage event. That's a big number because I don't know any other super event in the country that's drawing like 11 or 12 supers. So we're moving on this. And there are more supers that have been talking about coming. Let's start with Larry for a minute and his car. I'm thrilled with the support of Larry. He's a great guy.
He is.
He gets all the props. I even sent him a message about 2 weeks ago saying, Larry, I'll buy the damn motor. I'll pay for the motor. What do we got to do to get that car running? Okay. Larry, you're listening. I want to drive your race car. Let me put an engine in it so we can run it next year.
Oh, boy.
Okay? So, all right. I'll put an engine in it, you know? So, you know, Larry changes the subject when I say that, you know? But I am going to be driving Dave Hollinger's. Yeah, we'll get him. I'll get him sooner or later. I know Larry. He's a good guy. I personally am going to be driving Dave Honger's four-wheel drive rear-engine car, the height car he's got.
Yep, the 54.
And
okay.
Yeah, and I ran that last year, and we had some nagging motor problems, but he built a brand new motor for it. It's good now, so I'll be driving that. I'm driving a few different cars, but that's one of my main rides, and I'm thrilled to be doing that. He's also bringing one of the Sweet 16s that he owns, one of the Steve Miller cars, which I sat in the other day for the first time. I go to his shop all the time. I never sat in it, and that's a neat piece. So that's coming. I may take that for a session. We'll see. So that's another super. Steve Miller's bringing two cars. He pulled one out of a museum, and he's got two. What's he got? He's got two supers. He's got one of his Sweet 16s that was in a museum, and then he's also bringing a 10-pin car. Okay.
Oh, the old 10-pin car from 71, 72 area. Okay.
Yeah. He's bringing one of those. Perry Adams is bringing a Sweet 16. This is going to be a Sweet 16 thing. Okay. Perry Adams is bringing his car. Perry's a great guy. Vernon Lefebvre, he's got a vintage super from the 70s. Mike Bontrager, who comes from Michigan, he's got a really cool super with a big old wing on it, and that thing flies. That car, I don't know if it's a 67 or a 68 car, whatever it is, maybe a 69, but it's a beautiful car. I don't remember the name, who built it right now.
I know the one Vern has is the Leon Weisky 51. That's a Nolan Swift Bill Wright chassis. It was the only chassis that Nolan and Bill built for anybody else other than themselves. So that car debuted in 74, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
And ran 2 years with Leon driving it. And so, yeah, that's the one Vern's got. That's awesome that he's bringing that one down.
He was supposed to come last year, but something happened and he couldn't make it, but he'll be this time. Awesome. We've got a fellow by the name of Jay Dunham that's coming out of the Carolinas, and he's got an old super. I'm only going off a list of names right now, so I can't remember all the different cars or the makers of each car. Some I can. Then there's another fellow by the name of Eric Zembauer, who's also got a 1960s super. And then there's one or two more guys that are on the fence about coming. So we're looking at anywhere from 11 to 13 supers coming in.
That's
fantastic. Right now for the event.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. As far as midgets, right now we have about 18 or 19 vintage midgets coming in.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm talking everything from Cosworths to Gerties to Offies to Chevy 2s. You name it. If you want to see an era of midget, I'm talking old Dutch Schaefer cars and all these great cars, Sescos and several Sescos. If you want to, and the great thing about midget racing is the sounds of the engines in those midgets. You listen to all the different sounds, As a fan, when you come to the track and these guys get around the track, and they're not going to run 10/10ths on the car, but they'll get up to 7/10ths. You'll hear the whine of the engines, and you start listening to all the different individual sounds of all the different engines. Man, if that don't make the hair in the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what,
Oh yeah, midgets are awesome. That's great.
Yeah, so we've got tons of midgets coming in. Keith Maker will have several midgets there. He'll have two Offie midgets, from what I understand. Stan Applebaum, who's the caretaker for a couple of Keith Maker's midgets, he's going to have a VW and an Offie, a beautiful black Offie roll bar car he'll be running. Ray McCabe is going to have his midget that goes back to the 80s. Okay, that's a VW. Plus, he's going to have a three-quarter midget, the 1973 ATQ MRA champion that Jack Bertling ran. He's going to have that there. The TQ won't run, but it'll be there on display. The only reason why it won't run is that we sort of have a rule. We don't want any TQs on the big track for any reason. It's just too big. It's too big for a TQ.
Yeah.
Okay. But we get the 5th Mile built next year, then it'll be, open season on TQs running. All right. J.R. Booth, another very, very classic midget driver. He's bringing 3 midgets. He'll have I think, what's he got? A Gertie. He's got a Cosworth. And I don't remember what the third one is right now. I think it's another Gertie. Randy Mosteller is bringing several cars. Randy's bringing a two-seater sprint car. We've got two guys bringing two-seater race cars. Okay, I don't want to get off the subject what we were on, but now I'm thinking about it. Randy Mosteller is bringing a really cool two-seater sprint car, and AJ Kitts is bringing a two-seater coupe modified. And both guys are going to give rides to fans at intermission on Saturday night. And the fans, if you buy the program book at the races, they're going to call winners from the program book. And if you get called, if your number gets called, you get to come down and take a lap or two in a vintage car in the second seat. You put a helmet on and everything. And they're not going to run that fast, but you'll get to see what it's like to go on track with a race car in a two-seater.
Awesome. I was shocked the other night. I was watching the ISMA MSS show from Jennerstown. I was shocked when I heard that they still do a weekly racing program. I don't know of any other tracks that still do that. And gosh, we miss those. I mean, I've got a couple sitting next to me here, and I got a whole bunch of them that I constantly recycle from the Oswego Speedway that 70s, 80s, 90s that I go through during, dinner or whatever. If I'm just eating them, I'm reading something. And I was so excited to hear that Jennerstown is still doing that. They said they sold out. I don't know how many they make, but they sold out last week. So that's awesome. So door prizes are still in at Jennerstown, and you could win a ride in one of the two-seater cars that's coming. That's fantastic.
And there'll be several rides. We'll probably get 5 in each car,
nice.
One at a time. And speaking of programs, Program Dynamics. You remember Program Dynamics? That was big all across the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, before that, was you remember the Racing Pictorial magazine used to come out quarterly?
Yes.
Racing Pictorial. Okay. Who didn't love paging through that? And that was from the 1960s. Because I was a New Jersey kid, my father ran like Skoda sports cars, which were sports cars on ovals, and then we ran TQs and ran Pine Brook and all that. But we never really got up to Oswego. My only exposure to Oswego was through Racing Pictorial magazine. And I used to get to the page where it was from Oswego. I used to just salivate over these cars, So anyway, Randy Mosto's got 3 or 4 cars coming. Gary Halton, another great ARDC driver. He's bringing a Ciccone tribute, a Bobby Ciccone tribute car. Barry Kleindinst has got the red sled, which is the Boyd Roadster, which is a fantastic, fabulous car. Okay. Troy Bossino from New Hampshire. He's bringing the Dutch Schaefer number 5 Offie that he won a bunch of races in the 1960s, especially at Hershey. Won a lot of races at Hershey. And he's also bringing a second midget. I got to remember which car it is right now. I can't remember. I got a lot of cars and stuff running through my mind, so I won't remember all of them. I can go down the list, but
we step in just for a second, Gary. Just for anybody new that's just joining us here on Inside Groove Live, Gary Monshine is our guest, and Gary is the founder and promoter of the Big J Vintage Jamboree at Jennerstown Speedway that's coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 31st and the 1st of July, and then of course 1st of August at Jennerstown Speedway in Pennsylvania. And so we're talking about who's going to be there and what cars are going to be there. And so if you're just joining us, that's the discussion you're walking in on. This is one of the biggest car shows, vintage car shows in the country, especially for the open wheel set, if you will, disciplines, the supers, the midgets, the sprint cars, the Indy cars. So didn't mean to interrupt you, Gary. I just wanted to bring our new guests up to speed here. And by the way, if y'all are watching us, say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're from too, so we can get an idea of who's listening. Go ahead, Gary, pick up where you left off there.
Sure. And in addition to being a car show, we're running cars on track at speed.
Yes, Jennerstown full program Saturday night. Yeah, and some of your cars will be on the track.
Yeah, right. And we'll be on track Friday for sessions and Saturday. 4 hours of on-track sessions on Friday, and then 4 hours on Saturday, along with the Queens Royal Amateur Go-Kart Race. Okay.
Yes.
Another great restoration that'll debut is the Nagy midget. It's a Trevis midget that Russ Clarr used to drive in the 1960s, and his son Greg Clarr is going to run it. And Mike Casario did all the work on this. It's been a 2-year project to do all the research and get this car back, but it is spectacular. I saw some photos of it. Spectacular. Another car that'll make its debut as a restoration. I mean, the list is endless. I can go on and on and on. So what it boils down to is we've got about 18 or better vintage full midgets coming. We've got about 16 sprint cars and a lot of really good sprint cars coming. We've got about 6 or 8 Silver Crown Champ cars, USAC Champ cars coming. We've got 11 or 12 vintage super modifieds coming. And then we've got a couple of what we call specials coming. We've got a guy bringing a Bugatti, okay? And then another guy bringing like a 19,
Bugatti.
Yeah. Cha-ching. Yeah,
super modified Bugatti. Yeah. That's the extreme vintage car show for you.
Yeah. And the Bugatti is real. It's not one of these fake ones. This is an authentic Bugatti.
Wow.
And then there's another fella bringing like an old Buick, like a 1918 Buick or something. And
that's great.
Then we have several Indy cars. We have several Indy cars slated to come.
Tell me what you got for Indy cars. I can't wait to hear this.
Well, starting off, we have Lou Timolot with his Watson Roadster, off-powered Watson Roadster number 2.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah, that car runs great. And they actually, him and Keith Maka, they actually built a brand new 270 Offie for that car. I mean, cast the whole thing, the block, everything. It's all new, and it really runs spectacular. We have Alan Priliasco, who comes from New England. He's bringing a 1950s Roadster Indy car to the show. We've got a fellow by the name of Jason Kiefer, who's bringing a Pennzoil. I don't remember the nomenclature on it, but it's an Indy car from the, I think, early 90s, like 91. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then we have Pat Bennett from Virginia, and he's bringing 3 Indy cars from 3 March Indy cars, 1987 Marches, all in different livery. So we got that. And I got to go over this list here. I think we got about 8 or 10 Indy cars coming. All right. So we have a pretty good contingent of Indy cars coming. That should be really good. And we're going to build up the IndyCar division as well. And then we got the Mod Squad. Can't forget about the Mod Squad, all the modifieds coming.
The ground pounders.
Oh, you know what? Matter of fact, these guys made up decals. They pit all together, the Mod Squad. I go down there. They're great. They're just great. That's a community, or a Mod Squad is a community. Them guys are a community. All right.
For sure.
So we got a ton of guys coming. Like I said before, AJ Kitts is bringing actually 2 cars. And we got Mike Kugler. He's bringing a great coupe. Kurt Snow, another coupe. Several guys. Henry Stampf, Ken Archambault, Dave Brooks. Dave Brooks is bringing a gorgeous, like a pancake modified that used to run NASCAR modified. Ronald Ramsey with an old Mustang, like a Mustang late model, Dirk Johnson. I mean, the names go on and on. Roger Mex, Gary Sleppy, all these modified guys, And a lot of these guys are modified guys from Ohio or Western PA. But you'll see a lot of stock cars on track as well. And the way we run the groups, here's how we run the groups. We don't mix midgets or modify or stock cars with anybody else, any other group. When midgets go on track, it's only midgets. And the reason we do this is that it's very dangerous to put a midget on track with like a Silver Crown car. Okay, that's dangerous.
Sure.
Because if something ever happened to a Silver Crown car and it drove over the top of a midget, it'd be a disaster. So we don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So midgets we run midgets in an A and B group, which the speeds, the A group's the slower group. So they have a top speed of about 65, 70. And the B group can run up to about 85 or 90 miles an hour, which is plenty fast enough. That's 3/4 pedal, And then we have a sprint car group. And in any of these groups, you can run with the wing or without. Doesn't matter to us.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we have the sprint car group, Group A and B with the speed groups. And then we have Champ Car Group. Okay. So Silver Crown cars. And then we have the Super Modified Group. The same thing. The IndyCar Group. And then the Stock Car Group. Like I said, the stock cars only run with them too. We will combine. If a sprint car and an Indy car pulls up to the line, they both want to run either group, we'll put them together. That's right. Okay. Okay. We don't have any problem with that. So at times you may see a lot of cars on the track, but I like it better, especially as a driver. I like it better when there are less cars on the track, when I can really open up the race car. Sure. Because even when I go out, because I'll be driving a sprint car, a USAC Sprinter as well. Steve McPherson, who's the original owner of the car, it's a Shure sprint car from 1979. He still owns it, and he did the restoration. I've been running that for him since last year. I've been his regular driver. Matter of fact, I just ran Winchester about 2 weeks ago with it.
Man, that track so fast.
Yeah. The problem with Winchester, it's a great track, but it's so rough. Oh my God, that track is so rough compared to Jennerstown. So anyway, I like with that car, when I was at Winchester, the first group I went out with, there was like a bazillion cars on the track, and you can't really go anywhere. It's fine. You just drive around, but you can't do much. So then the guy who was promoting the event came up to me and said, listen, I know you want to go a little bit. I'm going to send you out with a couple of guys. I'm going to send like 4 or 5 guys out that are racers. Go ahead and go and have a good time. Just don't hurt yourself. And then I lit the flame a little bit, and then we started to crank it out,
Fun stuff.
We kind of do the same thing a little bit. If a guy is a racer, and what we look at is he currently able?
Yeah.
Currently able.
Right.
Okay. Because there's a lot of guys, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but there's a lot of guys that were great racers in the 1950s or 60s that
not so
don't
much
understand. That's why I said Gerald Chamberlain, I love the guy, but I don't know that we need to put him in a race car right now.
I hear you.
No offense against Gerald. I know, and hope he doesn't get offended. But there are certain guys that are just no longer currently able.
Sure.
Okay. And we do get periods of our track time, whether it's Friday or Saturday afternoon. We do get times when guys can go out and kind of light the flame a little bit and actually run some laps, and you can really see these cars work. And I got to be honest with you. Yeah, the modern cars are faster and everything, but these old cars can still get around a little bit. Trust me when I tell you.
Sure. Oh yeah, no doubt. Let's talk about the schedule a little bit. I just want to give folks an idea if they're thinking about attending the Big J Vintage Jamboree this weekend. Now, I mean, probably I imagine you don't get a whole lot of fans per se on Thursday, but there is load in all day for all classes on Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Noon to 5, registration and credentials sign in open from noon to 5 p.m. and also from noon to 5, race car, go-kart, and quad inspection.
The quad is for no, we're not racing quads. That's quads.
I was going to say
push. We actually, as a safety thing, we inspect the quads that are going to be pushing off race cars and make sure that they're functioning right. Brakes work. And all of our quad drivers who actually push off cars have to wear full face helmets.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. A good safety feature there. On Friday, 7 a.m., load in for all vintage classes if you haven't on Thursday already. 7 to 10 a.m. also, registration and credentials sign in open. And then 8 a.m. is the on-track photo for all vintage cars. So all of the cars line up on the track. And you take this amazing photo. Larry showed me one from last year, and I think you sent me one as well. It is just, I mean, it's one that I'd love to have blown up to about 100 times the size for my wall, because it is just an eye-catching photo with all of the different types of cars and the vintage of those cars. It makes it amazing.
I want to mention something about the photo that's very important. Okay. All right. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's very important.
Anytime.
When when I first got the idea to bring this show to Jennerstown last year, okay, I laid out a plan, and then I made a meeting with the track, with the principal owners of the track, John Morocco and Larry and a couple guys. Anyway, so when I went to they have like a meeting room. When I walked in the meeting room and sat at the conference table, I looked on the wall, and there were photos like 1.5 by 3 foot on the wall of different events that they've run. And as John Morocco, the principal owner of the track, came in, I got up, I shook his hand, and I said, "It's nice to meet you finally." And I said, "You see those photos on the wall? I'm going to put a photo up there that you're going to take one of those down and put our photo up. You're going to like it so much." And I promised him that was the first thing I thought about when I walked in that room, is we need to get a spectacular photo to replace one of the photos he's got on the wall. And damn it, we did it. And the idea was that we were going to line up all the cars. And this was very difficult to do, because when we first thought about it, we didn't think about the depth perception, because we got up on a scissor lift. They have a scissor lift at the track. So we're 30 or 40 feet in the air shooting this photo. And then we had the rows, like you would think, like, you know, the rows were like 5 or 6 wide of cars as far as the eye can see all the way back. But we had them all equally spaced. But the depth perception, when you do that, then you can't see all the cars.
That's right.
So we had to move rows. It took us like 3 hours to set this up.
Now you know how to
guys do it. No, now we know. Now we know how to do it. So it should go pretty good.
Sure.
And also we learned some tricks. We've been discussing it, you know, how to do this.
Yep.
But long story short of it, that photo is a critical part of the event and what we do. You wouldn't think it, but that photo is the main selling point behind this show. When people see that photo, exactly what you said. And we've printed a bunch of those in big form, which we may have an extra to. I don't have it, but this other guy, Dale Holder, who works with us.
Okay.
If you remind me, I'll get you one. I'll make sure you get one of those poster size ones. Yeah, I think there's a few floating around. So anyway, that's important. So we're going to do it again, and it's going to have more depth perception this time, because we got quite a few more cars. Plus, we're going to line up the carts as well, like Le Mans style, in an angle on the apron.
Oh, nice.
So all the cars will be this way, and all the carts will be on the apron.
Yeah.
So you're going to see all the rolling stock, you know,
that's
in
awesome.
that photo. But we'll do it again. That's an important part of what we do.
So that's at 8 o'clock on Friday morning. And then at 10 is the drivers' meeting for all the vintage participants, because, again, for those watching it or listening to the show, from 11 to 3 on Friday, they'll run on-track sessions. If you're just joining us and you missed Gary talking about these cars, the ones that actually run will be on track, and they have different groups within each division: the midgets, the sprint cars and champ cars, the super mods and Indy cars, and the stock cars. There's an A and a B group within each division, so they'll go out in their groups, but there'll be continuous on-track sessions all day Friday from 11 to 3, and then at 3 o'clock everything shuts down, because at 3:15 will be a drivers meeting in the track walk for the Queen's Royal, which, again, if you're joining us, the Queen's Royal is a go-kart race for ladies, and there's 15 of them. It's a
amateur, ladies.
Yes, amateur. At least we know they are. We hope they know they are. It's going to be on a road course that gets built, and so track walk and drivers meeting, and then at 3:45, the Queen's Royal practice sessions start. There'll be 2 sets of practice. And that'll go on for about 45 minutes or so. And then we start heat races. Actually, no, practice is, 3:45 to 4:15, so half hour. Then 4:30 is heat races for the Queen's Royal karts. 5:10 to 5:25 is the B main. There's going to be a B main, 11 karts.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
The top 3 advance. Look out. Do caution laps count, Gary?
No.
That's good.
You see that part of the arm right there? They got to build that up. No, yeah. you gotta go win this thing. You gotta go win it. Good thing.
Top 3 advance. And then at 5:45, the Queen's Royal Championship, 12 carts, 20 laps, and a victory lane celebration to follow. And then at 7 o'clock for 3 hours, 7 to 10 on Friday evening, barbecue jamboree and awards ceremony. And that's Friday's schedule. And we'll get to Saturday here in a minute, but talk about the barbecue jamboree a little bit, because that sounds like you're going to have quite a spread for everybody.
Yeah, right now, from just our teams and whatnot, we're hedging up towards 200 people already for that. Okay, so it's big. It's a big deal.
Nice.
And our main entertainment for that event is a local singing sensation, Alison Borick. Alison Borick has won all kinds of awards. This girl is like American Idol style. This girl belongs on American Idol. She's really good. So she's going to be there. And then also it's an awards banquet as well. So we'll be giving away all kinds of awards. Plus we're going to be doing interviews with Gerald Chamberlain and different people at that, doing some open discussions and things going on. And that usually ends up being a pretty good party. Everybody just kicks back and it's a good time. And we're going to put a couple of cars on display, but it's going to be more about camaraderie than anything, that part of the event. And, the track's putting on, last year we used a caterer. This year we're going to use the track, and the track will have, I think they have 2 meats, like chicken and sausage, and then 3 sides. But it's good. It's really good. And of course we'll have a few beers, and, a lot of people are going to be camping. So this is our home for the week, Sure. So we'll go back to the campers, crash. And then I shouldn't use the word crash, but we'll crash. And then the next morning we're up again, and up and at it again.
Nothing on track crashes.
Wait. There's one more thing I want to add about the Jamboree barbecue.
Okay.
When the girls from the Queen's Royal come to the barbecue, we're actually going to put all the girls in 2 lines, like a receiving line, and we're going to play coronation music. And the Queen is going to walk in with her scepter and her cape. And we have coronation music, bringing the Queen in, and we're all going to applaud the Queen. Okay. So this thing is going to be so campy. It's going to be so goofy. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sounds like a great time. Okay. And then on Saturday, August the 1st, is day 2 of 2. And again, 7 to 10 registration and credentials open. And race car and quad inspection also open if you haven't already been through that. If you're just coming for Saturday, 7 to 10 is when all that happens. 9 o'clock is your driver's meeting for the vintage folk. And then again, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday morning into the afternoon, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on track sessions for all of the vintage vehicles. So
cycling through.
Yep. Sprint cars, champ cars, supermods, Indy cars, stock cars. By the way, I just love seeing supermods and Indy cars in the same sentence, and especially these days, super modifieds are many Indy cars anyway. But that's pretty cool that they're going out together. And then of course, stock cars. And so that's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then after that, everything sort of shuts down, because starting at 5 o'clock, there's a fan fest behind the main grandstand at Jennerstown. Now, remember, Jennerstown has an entire racing program on Saturday night, which, by the way, is broadcast on Flow Racing, for those of you who wonder about that. And yes, the vintage cars will see duty on track during that broadcast. But at 5 o'clock is Fan Fest. So it says here, select vintage cars will stage in the Fan Fest area for meet and greets, autograph alley, interview corner, book signings, vintage photo booth, ACOT promotional booth.
ACOT, Atlantic Coast Old Timers.
Okay, there you go. Atlantic Coast Old Timers, promo booth, and Flow TV coverage and more. So that's at 5. And then at 7 o'clock, of course, 10-lap on-track sessions to run in conjunction with and be staggered among the regular Jennerstown Speedway show schedules. So now, so that means that on Saturday, you can see them on track from 10 until 2. and then you can see him again at 7, intermingled with the regular Jennerstown program. But then, of course, in between times at 5, you got the Fan Fest. So come early on Saturday and plan to spend the entire day, because there's a lot of stuff going on that day. You'll see a lot of on-track activity. And of course, I'm sure, Gary, that throughout this 2-day period, fans who are there will be able to mingle with the drivers amongst the cars, get pictures taken and all of that stuff too, right?
Yes, this is a festival that we're working on. And we're going to have, this year, we're going to have quite a few people camping. And we're trying to really build that part of it up, the camping. So we want those people to be there throughout the whole process and be involved. As a matter of fact, we have a little program called Be Part of a Team, where you can actually come in and say, listen, I got a 16-year-old kid. Can he get on a team? And we'll do that. We'll put him on a vintage team for the weekend, okay. Let him check air pressure, do whatever. We'll teach him so he can have a vested interest. Of course, we go over all the safety factors, but he'll have a vested interest in a car, in a team, and feel like for the first time in his life, he's actually part of a racing team. So we have a handful of young guys coming in already to do that. Matter of fact, on that USAC Sprinter that I'm going to be running, on that team, we got a young fella coming in to work on that team for that act. Also, don't forget, at intermission on Saturday night, we're going to be doing the 2-seater rides, both with the modified coupe and the sprint car, for the winners from the program book, for the numbers.
Hey,
for the program.
So if you're coming, make sure on Saturday you pick up a track program, because you could win one of those 2-seater rides. Well, it sounds like an amazing couple of days. And I love me some Jennerstown. I just absolutely love the track. I always, whenever I've been there over the years, I've had a great time there. Haven't been there since, I think, 2021. I was there for a Super Cup Stock Car Series show. Huge crowd. The track folks couldn't have been nicer. It was just a great evening. And I remember the next day driving back to North Carolina, just some of the prettiest sort of country driving, white picket fence, little house. It was, as I said to, I think it was my mother, afterward, quite a slice of Americana, really. Really enjoyed that. So if you're up in the area, go check it out at Jennerstown Speedway this weekend. Is there a website, Gary? I should have made note of that before the show, and I was not, I was a bad boy and didn't. So tell us, if anybody wants more information on it, where can they find it?
Well, in actuality, the best place to get up-to-date information would be to go onto Facebook. Okay. And my name is spelled on the screen right now. You can just go to my page on Facebook, and I have the latest information all the time. Even when I'm trackside, I'll be putting up the information. So feel free to go to my page on Facebook, and that'll feed you a lot of information. I also copy and paste, or share with the Atlantic Coast Old Timers events page, and it gets out. Trust me, it gets out on Facebook. But if you go to my page, you'll get the most up-to-date information throughout the weekend, or any weather-related changes or anything. Knock wood, right now the weather's looking pretty clear for the week, so I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, I think we're going to be good.
Solid there.
As a promoter, you're always worried about everything, and weather is definitely a thing you worry about.
And I mean,
but I got to tell you, the management at Jennerstown, last year we had a slight weather-related challenge last year, and they actually altered the time we ran, because come heck or high water, they were going to let us run. Okay,
that's awesome.
We are kind of the highlight of the weekend. We are running. We're definitely going to run our race cars. So, because we got people coming in from all over,
Oh, sure.
If people are traveling 20 hours, 22 hours to get there with race cars, they want to run, Incidentally, you are correct. Jennerstown, one of the reasons why I chose to pursue Jennerstown last year is I had run there back in the day, but I knew that Jennerstown, the racetrack, the size of the racetrack, the logistics, the beauty of the area. And
absolutely,
when I hadn't been to Jennerstown since 1997 or 8, last time I ran there. And then I went last year, and it was even better last year than it was in 1997. I mean,
sure.
Just spectacular. The grounds are kept great. it is the prettiest place you can go to watch a race. It really is, and they treat you well there. They really treat you well.
Yeah, it's just, I love it. I love the area, like I said, and love the tracks. Have seen some amazing super modified races over the years at that track. Of course, just had one this past weekend, which we'll get to talking about here in a minute. But it's the perfect place to hold this, honestly, and I'm happy that you've been able to put together such a big show and a great representation of motorsports history from the short tracks to Indy. And I'm just really excited to see how this show comes off. Still hoping to get up there. Not sure yet, but certainly trying as hard as I can. We have a little vehicle sick here at the moment, so we can get her fixed in time. We'll get up there. But I know that Larry Trinka is going up, and so I know I'm going to get bunches of pictures from Larry and be able to at least keep everybody up to date. And he'll come on the show, and we'll get you back on after it's over, and we'll talk about it. But we wish you all the best with it, Gary. As always, you do amazing work, and as somebody who is addicted to motorsports history, I can tell you that I really appreciate, and I know I don't speak just for me, I really appreciate all the effort that you and the Atlantic Coast Old Timers and everybody from Jennerstown, everybody who puts this show on, because we need to keep history alive and keep it on the racetrack, and you guys are certainly doing that.
Yes, and Tom, I got to say it again. It's very, very important that no man is an island unto himself, and that I have the greatest staff, in my estimation, with Ray McCabe and Rick Felch and Tommy Orns and Ronnie Lauer, and right down the line. We have the greatest staff that you can possibly come up with to do what we're doing. I have guys with, when you combine the experience, it comes down to hundreds of years of racing experience. Guys that really know how to do this, and it makes my job easy. It really does, So it's all good. If you're in the area in Jennerstown, bring a camper, bring a tent. It's free to camp. It's pay one price. It's very inexpensive for the whole weekend. For $35, you get the whole weekend and Saturday night's race.
Wow.
You get the pit pass, the whole thing. Come do this, folks. It's a weekend away. And if you're going to camp, hang out with us. We're going to have a good time. It'll be
join the party. Yep, absolutely.
This party don't get started until you all get there. You got to get there.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Gary. Well, we appreciate you being on tonight, and wish you the best with the show. And anything that comes up at the last minute, let me know, and we'll throw it out there. And we'll be monitoring it through the week, obviously, if I can't get there, and certainly checking things out on Flow on Saturday night as well. So that is the Big J Vintage Jamboree Vintage Car Show at Jennerstown Speedway, Friday and Saturday, July 31st, August 1st. That's this coming weekend. So go to Gary Monshine. I'm going to throw it up again here on the stream. There's Gary's name. Just go ahead and write that down and go to Facebook and just get in touch with him and make sure that you're keeping up all weekend long with the happenings. And of course, Larry Trinka will have, I know we'll have pictures as well, and he's got a car up there. And by the way, Larry normally charges $5 an autograph, but understand that he's got a deal working. He'll give you 50% off this weekend, $250 an autograph for Larry Trinka. So go in and take advantage of that, because that's going to be worth at least $226 on eBay. So there you go. So thanks, Gary. Appreciate it, and good luck with the show.
Tom, thank you, and we're going to get you there. If it isn't this year, we're going to get you there next
for sure.
Year.
Absolutely.
And
all right.
Thank you to your audience. I really appreciate your time.
Of course. That's Gary Monshine, and he'll make an exit here, and we'll continue on here, because we've got some things to talk about. The super modifieds in action at Jennerstown this past Saturday, and gotta tell you, it was spectacular. There were 13 cars, not as many as we had hoped for, right? We always want more, but the cars that were there put on a heck of a show, and it was fun to see the super modifieds at the Jennerstown Speedway. It's always fun to see them at Jennerstown, and it's always a good time. And I got to tell you, the speeds, low 16 seconds there, it was a ton of fun to watch those guys. Tyler Schillick, man, Tyler Schillick is on a tear, and he is not in a sharing mood this year when it comes to trophies. He wants them all, and he has been just dominant. The one element that has really made the last few ISMA MSS super modified races most interesting is the guy who keeps finishing second to Tyler Schillick. And that is Mike McVetti. Mike, once again, deep in the field to the front, but ran out of time to catch Tyler. And that was, I mean, watching that feature, I said, man, if somebody would throw some roll bar padding out here and we get a caution for debris, this could be a heck of a race. But that unfortunately didn't happen. So it was great to see Tyler win again. Of course, I joked, but Mike McVetti, strong second. Tyler Thompson finished in the money as well. And again, 13 car field. I think 10 of them ended up finishing. We had 2 or 3 pull off of the same lap, which was really interesting. So, it's the ISMA MSS Supers are now headed for the Oswego Speedway for their next show, the second ISMA race at Oswego, and that should be a lot of fun coming up in August. And of course, the next super modified show is Oswego Speedway on August the 8th. And there is a lot going on that day. And then the 15th and the 22nd, and Oswego has announced that they are going to run rain dates for the rest of the regular season. If a race does not get in on Saturday night because of weather, they will run it on Sunday, provided obviously it's better weather on Sunday. So that will happen for the super modified set at the Big O. That was announced this past week. And of course, we're only about a month away from the International Classic, Budweiser International Classic at the Oswego Speedway. So still a lot of super modified racing yet to come, but season's going by quick. So get out and catch a super modified race while you can. Okay, let's talk some sprint cars real quick, because watching the World of Outlaws, watching the High Limit series, both series just ultra competitive right now, and right in the heart of their seasons. The World of Outlaws were at Weedsport the other night. David Gravel ended up getting the win. I was 100% sure that Sheldon Haudenschild was gonna make it a sweep. He didn't. He won the first night, and then Gravel won the second night. But it was so cool to see the World of Outlaws sprint cars at Weedsport. And the High Limit series, again, I could spend 20 minutes talking about how competitive that series has been, but I think what dominated the media, at least social media, was series co-owner Kyle Larson's comments about NASCAR, which I won't spend any time on because this is a short track show. I just thought it was funny that you had a guy who's used to running short sprint car races saying that the NASCAR shows are too long. And I will say only this about that. I think he meant that not that the laps should be shortened. I think he and most of us would agree there's a lot of waste during the race. And so we'll leave it at that. And I'll have more to say about that during the week on throughout the SWN network. We'll have have an article out a little bit later in the week. We'll talk about some of that stuff. But also want to touch base on IHRA, because IHRA, man, it just keeps on coming. And I feel like it gets worse as we go. The latest out of the IHRA, and again, I'm going to give some credit here to Drag Illustrated magazine. Wes Buck and his staff put out an article that was permitted by Richard Freeman. And the article is all about Richard's conversation and the whole interaction between he and IHRA owner Daryl Cuttle about the possibility of Freeman buying the series, buying the organization, lock, stock, and barrel. And to make a very long story much shorter for purposes of time, Freeman made him an offer. Cuttle turned it down. Cuttle accepted it, then turned it down. And now he says that it's sold to somebody else. We don't know who. But I think the most concerning part of that article was that Freeman says that Cuttle told him he has no intention of making whole any of the folks that are owed money, whether you're a vendor, whether you're a driver, whether you're an employee. So he has no intentions of it. And, look, I'm going to be the last person to sit here and disparage Daryl Cuttle, because I don't know exactly what, we seem to know. A lot of people think they know. There've been stories out there about he and Elon Musk and Elon deciding not to pay him, or somebody not paying him a large amount of money, whatever. There's a lot of stuff out there. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true. Not going to spend much time on that part of it. But it doesn't sound like Daryl is much concerned. If you would think that if this were a case of Daryl really feeling very badly for all of this, he would be saying so. But we're not hearing anything from Daryl or anyone from IHRA. And that really makes this story one of the biggest tragedies in all of motorsports history, in my opinion, because the impact of what's happened to IHRA here, the impact of what's taking place here is spread across just a ton of different racing series. It really goes up the food chain, all the way from powerboats to snowmobile organizations to tractor pulling to the stock car series they started, to numbers of drag race facilities and organizations and series. And the tentacles of this, you've got vendors that, people that were broadcasting the races. You had all the employees on that side of it. And then, of course, all the officials and the executives and, the race day crews, the drivers, the facilities that are involved here, which we think most of them were leased. And I'm going to put this back on screen here. Gary Monshine, thanks, Tom, for the opportunity to discuss the Big J Vintage Jamboree at Jennerstown Speedway. You are more than welcome, sir. It is my distinct pleasure to do so. So this IHRA situation, when you look at the numbers involved here, millions of dollars owed, we're told. It is massive. Now, I believe, and again, I'm telling you what I understand, that there are new things coming out. It seems like almost every day about this, but it seems like with most of the facilities, they were leased to own deals. So I would presume that at least much or most of these facilities, Rockingham Speedway is involved, Darlington's Dragway is involved. You've got Heartland Park, you've got Maple Grove. I mean, I could be here for the next 20 minutes listing all the facilities. The ones that were leased, I would presume that they would just be put back into the hands of those who leased them to Darrell. So I think that a lot of the facilities may come out of this. I mean, obviously, in some degree of okay. But obviously they're not going to get the money that they thought they were going to get. But boy, for so many who were making a living with this, who bought or built, cars to race in the IHRA, where we are right now is it basically, he pulled the e-brake. It stopped. IHRA is at a dead stop right now, and we don't know. Now, again, Darrell Cuttle says it's sold, according to the article in Drag Illustrated. Darrell says it's sold. I do know that there are some folks who are starting to talk to some other folks about bringing back a stock car series that looks an awful lot like the IHRA stock car series did. So again, and I've been telling the people in that series, the drivers, it's August, end of July. There's time to get new investors, for the stock car piece of it. There's time to sort of make all that happen for 27. There's not a ton of time, but there's time. There's still a few months to get everything together here. And even if you get the right people in the right place to have an announcement at PRI, there is still time. Would the purse look like it did this year? No, probably not. I wouldn't think, because that's an awfully big purse for a late model sportsman series, a pro late series. That's a big, big, big purse. But I do think that there could be, if the streaming numbers that I heard are true, I do think there could be a very nice purse, very workable purse, because those numbers would dictate the kind of media value for sponsorship that would command that. But, it's, if I owned a car I was racing, or, had somebody racing in that series, I'd keep it. I'd hang on to it for a bit. There's time. Time is definitely on our side. Now, would it be the IHRA series? Doubt it. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I think here. I don't think you will ever see Darrell Cuttle. I think he's done. So, will IHRA be the sanction or the owners of the stock car series or whatever other series? Probably not. But the rule book, the concept of that series worked. The stock car series, the concept worked like a charm. It worked beautifully. It showed that there is a market for a late model series. And I think every single track in the Southeast that runs late models ought to be running these rules. Every single track ought to have that type of a rule book, that type of a late model class running at their track. Every single track. Now, if you're NASCAR sanctioned, you can't, because it wouldn't be the same. I don't guess anyway. But non-NASCAR sanctioned tracks, I think there's a wide open opportunity because they were looking at over 40 of the late model sportsmen and I think over 30 pro late models, sorry, at the upcoming show that they had at Pulaski County before they pulled the e-brake and stopped. So car count's not a problem. Interest was not a problem. There was plenty. And I would have bet that you might have touched almost 50 late model sportsmen at some point before the end of the year. So if I owned a car and was racing in that series, I'd just keep it. I'd sit on it and, wait a few months to see what happens here because we're very early in this process. It doesn't have to be IHRA. The rule book needs to be the same. If you get some ownership, some investor types that are trustworthy and stable and can put together a nice, well-paying series for these two groups of late models, I do think that it's very conceivable that we can see that go forward. So on that note, I would say just if you were involved, just hang on. Don't panic react. You can probably take your pro and go run Cars Tour with it in some form or fashion, but you're not going to be competitive because the Cars Tour with the new, especially now, of course, their big announcement was that SMI bought into the ownership group. The Cars Tour is the upper echelon. It's kind of the lifestyles, the late models of the rich and famous is kind of where Cars Tour is. That's not an insult. It's just, that's the market. So it's very expensive to go compete for wins on the Cars Tour. So this series, the IHRA had, was the exact opposite. It was designed for the blue collar Saturday night short tracker. And certainly proved its mettle, but I suspect a lot more to come with the IHRA, and we'll get to all of that on future shows. And that's where we're going to wrap it up here for this evening. It has been fun to be once again live. Want to thank Gary Monshine for jumping on with us at the last minute. Time got away from me here in July, and I didn't even realize until this very morning that this was Big J Vintage Jamboree week. And so I asked Larry if he would mind jumping on with us, and he was more than happy to do so, and certainly appreciate that. So we wish Gary and everybody safe travels and the best of everything at that show this weekend. And we'll have as much coverage of it as we can scrounge up. I was really hoping to be there. I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, but hopefully the Lord will make it happen for me next year, if not. So, okay, for more content daily, we are rocking right now with SWM Media. Over 1 million views in the last 90 days on our Facebook. Incredible. Over 300,000 viewers, unique viewers. Just amazing. 97%, I think, non-followers. Just incredible. Thank you so much for all of that. And we want to keep it going. So if you're not following SWM Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram, please do. We're very active on Facebook, getting more active on X, and working on the Instagram. So follow us. SteeringWheelNation.com is our website, or our hub as we call it, and new stuff up there daily. So just so humbled and so grateful. And hello, Carol Husak. Carol's been quietly hanging out with us, and always appreciate Carol, one of our writers, in fact. And Carol, again, a multi-award winning journalist in our chat. We love Carol's stories and thank her for every one of them that she sends our way. So we appreciate you, Carol, very much. And with that, we are going to look forward to next Monday night. We said we were committing to 4 of these through the month of July. And guess what? We've done 4 and we've enjoyed them all. So we're now committing to 4 in the month of August. So tell all your friends and neighbors that at 9:00 Eastern on Monday nights, it's Inside Groove Live right here on Facebook and YouTube at the SWM Media. And of course, before this, at 8:00 on Monday nights, go to watchpowertubetv.com. Watchpowertubetv.com. If you got Roku, if you've got Apple TV, if you've got Amazon Fire, if you've got a Samsung TV, a Vizio TV, gosh, I forget where else we are. We're all over the place. The Tom Baker Show, 8:00 Monday nights, everywhere, 8:00, wherever you are. Doesn't matter. It's not just 8:00 Eastern. It's 8:00 wherever you're sitting. We come on from 8 to 9, and then we're right over here for Inside Groove Live. So you get 2 hours of me, and doggone it, that ought to be enough. Have a great week, everybody. God bless. And we'll catch you next week on The Groove, Monday night, 9:00 Eastern, right here on SWM Media. So long and God bless.